What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First is my friends over at House Call Pro. Guys, I've been one of the biggest critic of House Call Pro. When I first came to Beltway years ago, I had come from a company using one of the other big guys. I'll just say that. And I told Ryan, we got to get rid of this shit. We're not going to be able to grow a company using House Call Pro. And all they have done is prove me wrong. And they've been adding new features, and it does everything that we needed to do and some. And we have other ways of keeping some other things. And it's been awesome, and especially for what it cost. House Call Pro, for what it offers, is a fraction of the cost of some of these other CRMs, and that's the reason we stuck with it. It gets the job done. With the add-ons, which is one of my other sponsors, like COMPANYCAM, you can build it to do exactly what you need to do, and even with the add-ons, it is still a fraction of the cost of the other guys. So I'm the first one to say that House Call Pro has done nothing but prove me wrong. And it's been the easiest one I've been able to rep because I use it every day. I've used several different ones, but we've been using for the last 3.5, 4 years House Call Pro since I've been at Beltway, and it's been amazing. And I touche to them for all of the new features that they've added. I think that they used to say it and the features weren't coming fast enough. But here lately, it's been amazing. I think they have awesome features, and I don't care if you're one guy in a truck or you're 7, 8, 9, 10 million, House Call Pro can get the job done for you. I finally got my link. I have to put it in here. But if you go to housecallpro.com/HVAC _uncensored.com, Jesus Christ, doing two. housecallpro.com/HVAC _uncensored. It will get you to their the free 14-day trial, and then they will give you a discount on your first 3 months for being a part of Uncensored Nation. All right, with that being said, let's move on to the next one. Guys, you know the next one is going to be my friends over at BLUON. If you guys out there have not tried the Master Mechanic, the AI tech support tool, I suggest that you go try it. I think that it is an amazing tool to be out there. I had somebody reach out to me and said, hey, is this going to be a bad thing that business owners are going to send untrained techs out and say, oh, they can just use these tools? And I told him, probably, maybe. I mean, those shitty owners are going to be out there. But this is a resource for the people, the techs that are out there that aren't like some of the guys that are in the chat right now, that they're really good technicians that know what they're doing. There's a lot of people out there that know just enough to be dangerous, and they're still learning. And this is a resource for those people that when they get stuck, they don't have to call a boss and feel nervous that they're going to get lashed out because they don't know the answer to something, or having to bother one of the other senior techs or another tech while they're working. They can ask this thing a question, and the more info they give it, the more descriptive and the better the answer is that the Master Mechanic gives it back. And I have tested this thing. I've asked all kind of residential questions for that matter, and the thing is spot on every single time. So I would say to everybody, go out there, try Master Mechanic. Let me know what you think. And if you're out there listening to this and you're not a senior tech, you're somebody that has questions from time to time, use Master Mechanic to your advantage. Ask it whatever you need to do. Learn something. Let it teach you. There's a bunch of knowledge and wisdom from a bunch of awesome technicians inside of there that can give you any information that you could possibly need. With that being said, I normally only do 2 sponsor reads every show, but it's my show and I'm going to change. And I'm going to talk about this one. Kind of a coincidence. Guys, you see that I always rock this merch all the time because I support the person and the cause that is behind it. I think that this is some of the best merch that's out there. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons I haven't sold a bunch of merch because the quality of this stuff is awesome. And if I'm going to put out merchandise, I want it to be like this. I love wearing all these clothes. I love supporting a friend of mine. And obviously tonight we're going to be talking about the HVAC Tactical Award Show, which is amazing. If you guys have never been there, you should. Obviously, tickets are sold out. If you can't, watch it online. But yes, go to HVAC Tactical, get yourself some merch, and join the movement, man. You look at all these stickers on here. Look at all these people. It's a movement. Join the movement. That's all I can say. With that being said, man, let's get on with this fucking show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I'm your host, Gil KV Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday, another hump night, and another amazing show for you. Obviously, you guys know who's coming on, so I'm not going to delay the introduction. Hope everybody's having a great week, great show, and you guys know who it is. It is my brother from another mother, Mr. Ben Poole from HVAC Tactical.
What up, what up, what up?
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
Good, man. Hey, I love what you did because I obviously always play the national anthem, and a lot of times I'll give it a salute. But I love how you stood up. I'm gonna start standing up every time that I do it, every show.
I didn't know you could see me.
Oh yeah. I could see you, and I'm gonna make sure that I do that every time. I always give it a salute, something I always play, but I like that. That was awesome.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, for me, it's just a respect thing, right? I have a lot of respect for our country. Although I'm not super thrilled with things that are happening in our country right now, but nonetheless, I have a lot of respect for our country. So, Pledge of Allegiance, national anthem. Same thing when I pray or when somebody else is praying, I would usually take my hat off. Just a reverence thing. So
yeah, no, I got you. Well, obviously we'll go into some other avenues, and I know that you've been busy behind the scenes with the award show, but besides that, what's been going on with you before we go down that rabbit hole?
Man, award show. So obviously we're like a month out, right? So when I get about 2 months away from the show, it is just balls deep, dude. I mean, we're in it. There's nothing else that's going on because there's just so many details to iron out. So it's stressful.
Yeah,
to say the least.
And that's what I want people to know. Like, knowing Ben and talking to him is the work that goes into making that one night happen. Like it's a lot. Like to be honest, after the show goes off, how long of a break do you get before you start planning the following year?
Usually we plan about 8 months in advance. So I think we learned a little bit this year, and we're going to plan at about 11 months in advance. It just takes a lot. There's a lot of details. A lot of people don't realize what it takes to put something like this on. There's just so many moving pieces, and I'm only one person, right? So I have to rely on some other people to be great at what they do in order for this night to really, kick off. It's funny, like everybody talks about, like, man, I can't wait. Like, it's gonna be such a great time. I hope it is. I won't get to enjoy it, right? Like, I'm working. And so, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, making sure. You were obviously in Atlanta. A lot of people were in Atlanta. Things went sideways during the production on the AV side, right? They had the wrong videos queued up and the wrong songs getting ready to play. And I caught it before it happened. And I said, hey, man, you can't do that. And we're like 10 seconds out from this thing, like going live. I was like, you can't do that. It's got to be here, got to be there. And fortunately, the guys who were running the audio video were just professionals. and I greatly appreciate that. I have a deep respect for anybody who's a master of their craft. Doesn't have to be an HVAC, right?
Yeah.
Um, and they fixed it, boom, 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 done. Next slide went up, and I'm just like, now I can look at the next thing that's coming up and make sure we get ahead of it. But yeah, it's a lot of work, a lot of moving parts, because I want this thing to be as high quality as possible. I want it to be as something that you would watch on mainstream television, right? Um, it's kind of like if you're gonna put a TV series together and you're gonna pitch it to like Netflix, like it needs to be legit. It needs to
Yeah.
be quality, right? For somebody like Amazon or Amazon Studios or like Netflix to take it seriously. And not that I'm trying to pitch this to anybody, but like anything I do, I just want it to be as best as it can be and as good as it can be. And yeah, it just takes a lot of work, man. So I hope you guys enjoy the night. I hope you guys leave there going, I can't wait till we do this in Orlando. But for me, I'm like, I can't wait till this night is over so I can take a vacation and be done with this for a couple weeks. So
I can only imagine, man, because I know all the work that you put into it, and and going back from all the ones, so Vegas, I think Vegas was awesome, and then the jump to Atlanta, it was like, holy shit, like it was just like every single one of them has been awesome, and I know how you are as far as like if something happens, I mean it is what it is. I mean the thing shit can always go wrong, but knowing how you are, like I always know the event is going to be awesome, and there's going to be a bunch of amazing people in the room. But I'll be honest, like Vegas was awesome, and that's that kind of little bit smaller is what I was expecting in Atlanta, and then the red carpet and stuff like that. It was like, what the fuck? This is amazing, man! Like this is awesome.
well, I mean, let's be real about this, right? Like this is way bigger than I ever anticipated any of this being, right? This was something that was just an idea that I could honor my peers, right? Give some a little bit of glory where glory's due, right? And just, hey man, great job for being amazing at what you do, right? I know nobody else is going to recognize you for it, so let me do that for you, right? And and man, it just created this just the movement, right? And you're part of it. The other podcasters are part. I mean, everybody's part of it. Everybody watching right now is part of it. This thing is just way bigger than I ever expected it to be, man. And I'm just humbled by the whole thing. But yeah, Vegas was small and quaint and intimate. And, we went into Atlanta saying, hey, let's try to level this thing up a little bit. And we did. And for Chicago, I'm not necessarily trying to level up any more than Atlanta. I'm just trying to duplicate Atlanta because I thought Atlanta was really, really good.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of there was a lot of there was a lot of things that happened in Atlanta that were like, man, I hope I could do that again. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. Obviously, it's like when you're throwing a party, you want it to be the best, right?
Yeah.
And clearly the word is out. We sold out of tickets, sold out show, right? So last year, so in Vegas, we had like 120 people. We only had 120 tickets. So we sold out of Vegas in like less than 24 hours. I felt like that was easy, right? Then we shot for 300 people in Atlanta. We only sold, I think we were at about 265, 260, somewhere in that range in Atlanta. And then here we said, hey, 300 people. And there was a point there where I was like, you know what, let's just dial it back. 275, we're just going to cap it off. And the tickets just came flooding. I don't know if people just heard that, through the ether or what, but it just happened. And so now I have a waiting list of people trying to get in. And it's cool, man. I mean, we've created this kind of elite kind of party, thing, and people want to be part of it. And I'm just grateful to be here with everybody else, man. So really.
I hear you, and that's what's awesome. And I think what you've like having so many amazing influencers, whatever they do, whether it's Facebook, podcast, Instagram, TikTok, all in one place, and just being able to meet all these people. Hey man, I'm Gil from Uncensored. Oh I finally met you in person. Like it's just that's awesome. I mean, and to be honest, I've always looked forward to AHR, but now I really look forward to it at the beginning because of the award show, and that's being honest. Like it's it's awesome, and that's why I said in the beginning, you created kind of this, it's a movement. It really is, and it's going to keep getting bigger. It's not going to go away, and I think it's awesome. I think you created something that is amazing, and it's still only scratching the surface.
I 100% agree. But I think that the two main things that make this whole thing really cool, like the awards are cool. Don't get me wrong, right? That's just the icing on the cake, right? The really cool thing is the relationships and the community that has come out of this whole thing, right? And and not only that, the second part of that is it's really pushed people to really level up their craft, really level up their game, and say, hey man, I don't just want to be a mediocre HVAC guy, right, or tradesman or plumber, because there's a ton of plumbers that show up to the show too, right? And plumbers aren't getting awards, but they're still there because they want to be part of that community, part of that movement.
Yeah.
And I think that it takes something like this to really grab a hold of people and say, and then get somebody to who's maybe been doing this for 15 years and say, you know what, man, I kind of fell asleep at the wheel, if you will, right? But now, man, I'm like kind of like re-energized in this industry, right, or in this trade, and like, man, I want to be the best that I can, and so it really pushes you to try to be a master of your craft, and gets other people around you to push you, right, and then you're pushing somebody else. Before you know it, we're all just linking arms and moving in this industry together. And like I said it before, I'll say it 1,000 more times. When we level up, the entire industry levels up. And ultimately, that's my goal. I want the industry to level up because I think that it has way more potential than what we're actually showing. So,
Yeah. Amen. Amen to that. And I know for me personally, I mean, it was awesome that I won the award last year, but regardless, there's not enough awards to go around. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be butt hurt, thinking so and so. But it's fun to see even my friends, be recognized. And then the awesome people that I've met. I've had so many more guests on the podcast of guys that I've watched their channels, but now I have their phone number. They're friends of mine that I can talk to, being able to keep building those relationships and mingle with them, because you know how it is. That's the only time I really get to talk to them, or the after party that Tersh and I had. Well, really, they had, they threw it. I just was staying at their place. Because once the event starts, sometimes it's hard, especially I got sponsor obligations. I have to podcast. Like, I have to be certain places. So it's business. As much as
yep.
I'd like to say it's not, it is. So I can't get to talk to everybody at AHR. So having that event and stuff like that, it's just downtime that I can just mingle and catch up with old friends and meet new ones. And I love that about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, the networking alone, just building relationships, and AHR in general. I mean, even if it wasn't for the award show, just AHR in general. I mean, you can meet some amazing people, and you can meet somebody that could literally change the course of your career because they just like you. They're like, dude, this guy is the real deal. Like, he's passionate, he's smart, he's tech savvy. I need this guy to come work for me, right? Before you know it, you're moving state lines, going to work for some other company, making a whole lot more money. Like, you just made money moves, man, and you just changed your life and your family's life, all because you went to an event, you met the right person. And so it's like, I can't stress enough, man. It's relationships is what makes the world go round, man. It's like, you have to network, you have to mingle with people, you have to meet new people. If you're just stuck in this little bitty bubble and you're in this comfort zone, you're going to be stuck there forever,
Yeah.
So growth happens outside of the comfort zone for sure.
And to be honest, I have so many friends now that without this podcast, people that I talk to on a daily basis, I wouldn't have. Like, most of my friends that I talk to all the time don't live in my state. They're friends that I've made through the podcast, like Tersh. I talk to Tersh all the time. Me and you talk every once in a while, but I talk to a lot of different people that I wouldn't have known without this. And now they've become a staple in my life that I talk to them, if something happens and I got to talk to a friend, it's one of them. Sadly, it's not saying I don't have friends around here, but in the hustle and bustle of life, a lot of times I don't see them. I'm talking to these other friends that I've made more than some of those. I don't know if
Well,
that's
Kate,
sad.
No, it's not sad. KB says it well when he goes, dude, I'm not famous, because people will walk up to KB and be like, man, I watch your channel all the time and blah blah blah, right? And KB's like, dude, I'm not famous. I just hang out with, I have famous friends, right? And I laugh because I'm like, dude, I'm not famous, right? But you got to remember, 5 years ago, I came onto the scene as a nobody, dude, right? And just started doing this little thing called HVAC Tactical, and then I just became friends with you and with Jeff and with Mike and with Alex, and like all these guys who just were heavy hitters on social media, and it just created this community, and everybody's just leveling up together, right? So it's like I'm still a small fish in a big pond, dude, you know what I mean? And compared to some of these guys out there. And so, like I said, I'm just humbled to be here, and I'm just gracious that the community has allowed me to be a voice for them. I feel like I'm pretty level headed, and I can negotiate things pretty good on people's behalf. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, we're a unit, and we're all rolling together. So when I make it, you guys make it. You know what I mean?
It's bringing people together, and that's powerful. And one thing I love about it too is, it doesn't matter if somebody has 500,000 subscribers or 5,000 subscribers, or whatever downloads, whatever it may be. Everybody's there just talking, hanging out. It's not. It's just real people. Like, I know the first event, everybody thought it was invite only. Remember?
Yeah, that was a huge misconception, and people were kind of butthurt. How come I didn't get an invite? And it's just like, well, if you'd actually open your ears and listen, we've said it time and time again that you don't. It's not an invite only. You just have to get a ticket, right? And people right now are doing a whole lot of bitching that they can't get a ticket, and it's just like, well, dude, I've only been talking about this for 8 months. Like, where
Yeah.
have you been? You know what I mean? So it's not like we sold out of tickets in the first couple weeks. Like, we had tickets for months, right? So if you didn't make it around to get a ticket, it's nobody else's fault but your own. You just didn't make it there in time, right? And
Yeah.
I'm
I,
sorry, I can
I
only seat 300 people.
yeah.
So
I make sure I get mine in the beginning. As soon as I know they go on sale, I go buy them.
yeah, yeah. There's a handful of people, man. It was like, as soon as I announced tickets were up, like in the first 10 minutes, people were grabbing tickets, right? And so, and I get it, right? You have to make travel arrangements. You got to figure out, are you going to AHR? Like, there's a lot of moving pieces to this whole thing, right? So I get it. Sometimes you don't know if you're going to be able to go to the very last minute. Well, unfortunately, if you wait that long, tickets are going to be gone. So
Yeah. Part of me wanted to do, and maybe I'll do it next year. I wanted to do like some kind of giveaway, like buy an extra ticket or so to give somebody that experience. But I feel like if I do that, I'm gonna have to be expected to pay for somebody's travel and hotel or something. Just because you can buy them a ticket, that doesn't mean that person can afford to go to Orlando or buy a
yeah,
hotel. So,
yeah. The
um,
cost of the ticket is nothing compared to what
yeah,
it's going to cost for a hotel and a flight and meals. You know what I mean? And missing work, like, you got to factor that in. So,
yeah.
yeah, AHR is not to go to AHR is not inexpensive by any means, but I will tell you, man, it's like the Disneyland for HVAC. I mean, if you're serious about your craft, if you're serious about wanting to network and meet people, then this is where you need to be. This is where it is, right? This is the Super Bowl in HVAC for sure.
Yeah.
And I think for us, we just stumbled upon the coincidence of, hey, we should do this Sunday night before the show starts. We just happened to do that in Vegas because it was like, just seemed like the best day if we were going to do it at AHR. And then it just was kind of like, well, that just makes sense, right? So everybody's going to be at AHR anyway, so we might as well just go ahead and do it. But yeah, I mean, some of this stuff is just dumb luck. People think that I'm like this freaking wizard, and I have all this like. Some of it you just stumble upon. You do something, and you're like, you look back, and you're just like, dude, I didn't think of all the different angles when I made that decision, but that was a really good decision I made because of blah 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 blah, right? And and then there's also some things I've done where I'm like, that was a really bad decision I made. I'm not going to do that again, right? So, and some of them cost a lot of money, and unfortunately, in life, the most valuable lessons that you learn in life are typically the most painful and the most expensive. So, take it from me.
Yeah, and one of the other myths that I know that you'll uh, expel or whatever is, I remember this was I think this was last year. This was after Atlanta. Somebody said like, "Oh man, Ben must make a boatload of money off of that event," and it was like, no, like think about how much your ticket cost and everything that you get included. Like Ben's probably losing money. You know what I mean? To be honest, I don't remember what I paid for the tickets, but the meal that you get, the drinks, and all the other stuff, I'm like, that's a
So
steal.
let me put this in perspective for you, for people who may not understand. So in Vegas, that show cost us $40,000 to put on. How
Mm,
small that was. $40,000. We raised $40,000. We spent every dollar we had to put on that show in Las Vegas, right? Atlanta, Atlanta was a $150,000 show.
I believe it.
So do the math on that, right? I left Atlanta, and this is only a handful of people know this, and I don't have a problem telling people this because it's the raw truth, and I'm a transparent guy, and I'll just be honest with you. I walked away from Atlanta $10,000 in the hole to put on that show. $10,000 in the hole. Now, some people might go, "Oh, that's not that much money," right? And other people might be like, "Holy crap, 10 grand, dude! 10 grand is a lot of money, right?"
Yeah.
And I look at it as, in order to build something, sometimes you have to go through the valleys, right? So I looked at it as, if I were to go spend $10,000 on marketing, yeah, I might get some back on my return, right? But you're not going to get $10,000 worth, not usually anyway. Maybe not in this game, maybe on HVAC replacements for sure, right? Two
Yeah.
jobs, you make your money back, no problem. But on this, coming back from Atlanta, I really kind of sat down and I was like, okay, do I want to make losing $10,000 a thing, right? Or do I want to try to figure this out? And so I kind of went back to the drawing board and started, just punching numbers and figuring out what it was going to take. Yeah, this show, I don't anticipate to make money on this show. I mean, it just is what it is, right? But quite honestly, I never started this to make money. I started this because I thought that my own personal work in the field was worthy of somebody recognizing me and giving me an award for it. And I was looking at an OEM like, hey, how come you guys don't give me an award? I can go back to my clients and go, hey, look, our installations are award winning, right? And I can look you in the face and not lie to you about, like, how awesome would that be, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, geez, man, I can't be the only guy who feels this way. And so that's really what spawned this whole thing of me wanting to give out an award, because I just really felt like somebody else out there who was putting in the effort, being passionate, mastering their craft, and they're just doing it because they just love what they do, right? Not really looking for anything in return, but I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be that company, that entity, that brand that turns around and says, dude, you're killing it, bro. Great job. And not only am I going to not just do this behind closed doors and give you this thing, I want to do it on a stage. I want to do it on a live stream. I want to do it in front of all these hundreds of people and get all your peers to stand up and applaud you and say, dude, well done, man. And then all it does is elevate the next generation coming up behind us, or the next year worth of people, right? To let's level up our game. Can we get this award? Can we get this award? So it's this is not an easy thing, dude. Like,
Yeah.
trust me. I go through moments where I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore. There was moments where I was like, I'm just going to cancel. I'm just going to give sponsors their money back. I'm just going to cancel Chicago. Like, I don't even want to do this. This is too much. It's too stressful, right?
I bet.
But then there's people who are just so like, man, don't do that. Don't do that, man. Like, what you're doing for the trade is so great, And it's like, okay, and it kind of pumps me to keep me going. But yeah, it's not without its challenges, man. That's for sure. But
Yeah, and
but
I
yeah,
hope you make money. And obviously what you said, I knew that because you told me about you losing money, and that's why when I hear people make comments and I'm just like, and the people who do know you and know the behind the scenes, is why they come to that defense, because it's like people make ignorant comments and it's like you don't know what you're talking about. And whoever said that, they're 100% right. You really are changing something in the industry, man, and that's we've been friends, so I don't have to blow smoke up your ass, but that's the truth. Like, this is like last year, like I wasn't even, and I had the break when me and Kelly had split up, so I wasn't even nominated in Vegas. So the fact that I was nominated in Atlanta, I was pumped. I'm like, damn, dude, I'm up there with my buddy Tersh and them, Brian Orr. I'm like, this is amazing company. Not one iota that I think that I was going to win that award. you know, but it's awesome. And now I want to see other people. I want to see friends that I know who put in the same work. Whether it's doing their TikToks or doing their Instagram. Like I want that. I want those people to have the feeling that I had, because that was an amazing feeling that I didn't expect. And you want your friends to have that feeling. And that's what I look forward to. So this year, obviously, I know I'm not winning anything, but I'm there. I want to see my friends. I want to see them have their moment, you know? And I can't wait for that.
Yeah, we try to not let somebody take the same award home twice, right? Like, not to say that that's not possible, but we haven't been in motion for that long in order for that to really happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, we try to bring, like yourself, you're going to be presenting the Podcast of the Year award in Chicago. So the goal here is to get whoever won the award to present the award the following year. And it's just kind of a way to kind of pass the trophy down, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm excited to see what happens, but yeah, it's I definitely don't do this for the money. I do it for the love of the trade. I do it because I want to be able to kind of leave a legacy on the industry. To, hey man, he came in here and he shook this industry violently, and a lot of great stuff came out of it on in the midst of all that. I think ultimately that's my big goal, man. But just to leave people with something better than what I had, right? It's kind of like, not that I'm calling anybody kids, but like, for your kids, you want a better life for them than you had when you were a kid, right? And for people in the industry, like, I want a better industry for them than I had when I was growing up in the industry, you know? So kind of the same concept.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And like I said, I can't wait for this year. And like you said about AHR, it really is the Disneyland for HVAC techs. I've been to a bunch of these other conventions. And a lot of people ask me, like, Gil, why don't you go to others? And I do need to. I need to get out more. But after going to an AHR and then going to some of these other ones, it's not the same. Like it's not. It's smaller. It's more designed for managers or business owners, or this one is more about sales or something. Like AHR is just a bunch of techs. People who fix stuff that are there hanging out, having a good time. And I think that's why there was no better event to do it with than this, So like you said, I think it's the timing when it happens. I think it just all worked out perfect. Orlando will be awesome. It is going to be cold as hell in Chicago. That makes me a little nervous as a bald guy. My suit is going to be looking fresh. I told you. I'm still trying to lose a couple lbs because I got that slim fitting. So if not, I'm just going to be in there like, and the nominees for HVAC Podcast of the Year are. I'm not going to be able to breathe, but I'll look good.
Hey, looking good is half the battle, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
right.
and that's another thing, right? Like guys like us doing, in attics and in basements and under houses and whatever, right? Like, dude, we don't get the opportunity to really dress up like that. Like, what, when you go to a wedding, you're not wearing a tuxedo to a wedding unless you're getting married, right? Maybe you're the groomsman, right, or best man or something, maybe. But for the most part, man, you don't get to dress up like this, and this is just a really good excuse for us all to get together, be saturated in HVAC, just hang out with one another, and just look amazing while we're doing it.
Yeah. And
So
and when would tradesmen ever be able to walk the red carpet? That's why I said maybe that was a small detail, but that was awesome. Like I loved every minute of that. The interview at the end, I'm just like, I don't even know who I'm talking to, but this is damn. I love this. The camera sitting there was really, really, really cool. To do a little shift here, how has it been with the launch of the magazine?
the magazine has been interesting. So obviously, most people know we've got our second magazine out now. Um, and again, that spawned out of the award show, right? It was just a catalog we had at the award show with all the sponsors and stuff in it. And people were like, dude, this is like a legitimate magazine. And then it really kind of was like, maybe we should do a magazine, right? Um, Obviously, I couldn't do this by myself. I have an amazing team of people behind that. Matthew Price, currently at Central Therm. He's my main graphics guy. Also does some editing. Also does a lot of the layout stuff for the magazine. I couldn't do what he does. He's a master at what he does for sure. Master of his own craft. And then Gianna Brusella, who is the editor, the editor in chief of the magazine. She is currently at Fujitsu General, and
That's who I talked to, right? The one with the
yeah,
thing you did with me. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, she was awesome.
she did the interview for you for the last magazine. Yeah, she's incredible at what she does. Super smart, super savvy. Again, I couldn't do it without her for sure. But yeah, both of them are just bought into what the magazine is and where it's going, and that we're scratching the surface here, man. So what I didn't anticipate for was the magazine overlapping into award show stuff, and that has been a pretty big challenge trying to manage both of them. But I think we have a lot of like I have this board with all these things that we're trying to get done, right? And uh, it's hard for me because I'm only one person, right? So what I've had to decide is I have to take a step back and I have to start kind of bringing these people and putting them in place, creating a team around me in order to start executing all this stuff. We have some really cool things in store, some of which I just can't talk about yet, but it's there's some really cool things coming. As long as we can keep everything moving, get the right people in the right place, get some money behind it, we're going to change the industry, dude. No doubt about it.
I believe you. I believe every word of it. And if you guys out there listening to this after the fact or watching it, if you go to hvactactical.com, you can buy your magazines right there. If you can't see them in your local supply houses or wherever, I didn't see them locally, so I went to his website and bought them. And I actually just got mine not long ago, and I've still been reading through them. So I think they're awesome. And then it's cool seeing friends and people I know in there. So I think the
Yeah, we always
magazines
try
are
to
awesome.
we always try to feature people in the magazine, right? Like full page, like like for instance, it'll have your picture there, and it'll say like who your name, where you're from, your age, how long you've been in the industry, kind of like think of like a baseball card, right? But it's on a big page in a magazine. And so the goal is just to keep highlighting people from all over the country and throughout Canada, soon Mexico. Like we're working on trying to take the magazine and spin it off and do a Spanish version of the magazine. So we're working on that. That's one of the things we're working on, right? And that alone is not an easy thing to do. So yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces to this whole thing, right? And until I can get people in these roles full time, then there's only so far we can go. There's only so much we can scale because I'm just one guy. I can't do it all. So
Yeah, no, for sure. Nestor, HVAC blogger, said those veto bags this year. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know if you heard about some cancellations, but yeah, that's not happening.
yeah, old Vito let us down. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, they're not that dependable. I mean, their bags last forever. What did you expect?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just
but
kidding. I can't do that to Vito. Vito came through hardcore, man. Yeah, Vito. I had some reservations in the very beginning that I wasn't going to be able to get it done, but it took several conversations, and we finally got it done. And Vito is supplying Vito EDC backpacks to all 300 attendees. That's a whole lot of backpacks, and
yes,
at a whole lot of money. There's a lot of money wrapped up in backpacks in there for sure. So
yeah, that's awesome. And when I found that out, I was gonna buy one, and I was like, nope, not anymore. But pro tip, if you've never been to AHR and you are coming to the Tactical Awards, make sure you have room in your bag to take it home with you. I've seen a lot of
yep.
people that have to box things up and ship it back home. So that's why I bring two suitcases now, because you'll literally leave AHR with enough hats, shirts, and God knows what bags to
Yep.
last you a year, where you literally can get enough free stuff. It's pretty amazing. I'll actually have stuff to. I feel bad because I've come every year, and the first time I met you in Orlando, you gave me, that's where I got my first tactical hat when you gave me one, and friends give me stuff, and I'm like, Gil, you piece of shit. Like, you never have anything to give back to people. So I literally spent like $3,000 on merch, just stuff to give away, because I feel like it's the least I can do is give back to everybody that's giving me stuff.
Well, next year, I can talk about this. It's not a for sure thing yet, but what I want to do for next year at AHR is people always ask me, are you going to have a booth at AHR? And I'm like, no, why would I? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? I would much rather walk around and just meet people and just talk and just, build relationships and talk to sponsors and potential sponsors of the show. And the better job I do at cultivating sponsors, the bigger and better the show becomes, right? And so, but one of the things that I really want to do is I want to have a booth at AHR with a kind of like think of like a big trailer that unfolds into this big platform, if you will, right? And it'll have like enclosed, some of it will be enclosed, some of it will be kind of like on a deck, maybe even a second story to go up and hang out on. But I want it to be like the social media hangout, right? So if you're involved with us on social media, you come, you hang out. We'll have drinks in there, couches, hanging out, playing PlayStation, whatever. And it's just a place kind of like the hub, if you will, right? It's kind of like home base. It's just a place to when you're done, when you're tired of walking around, just come hang out for 30, 45 minutes and then get back to it. So
Bring some
be kind of a
equipment.
cool thing.
We can podcast from the hub and talk, and I'm down. Let me know, man. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Especially with people pitching in, because I know those, getting a spot is not cheap. These people pay,
it's not.
yeah,
It's not.
crazy money for these booths. That's why when you see some of these giant ones, and you walk in and you see like giant chillers that are sitting there working, like it's a first you're like, how the hell did they get that in here? Second of all, I'm like, man, that space must be expensive because
Yeah.
that's a big chunk of space.
Yeah, for,
Yeah,
for me though, think of a semi trailer pulling in and parking, right? And then the trailer unfolds. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah. So
So,
that's a pretty big space right there.
mhm.
Somebody says, will there ever be tactical boxers?
We are actually going to roll those out in year one, and I thought let's master the shirts and the hats first before we get into anything else. But is a clothing line really a clothing line until you have boxers?
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Hell, I'll wear them. I actually need to. I think they're sold out. I have one of those belts like you have, but I don't have the tactical one, and mine's getting
Uh,
worn out. But I think when I went to look when I got stuff, I think they were out of stock or something like that. If not, I need to
on
get me
my
a belt.
site,
I thought they were last time I
no,
went.
they're almost gone. I think I saw the pack of them earlier. There's only like 10 of them left or something.
All right, well then I'm gonna have to get me a. I'll go buy a belt after this. um,
Right now, the green hoodies are really the hot item right now. It's like those came in and they're just moving out the door, man.
Yeah,
So
I should probably grab one of those because that black one, I love that black one. I literally, when I saw, I think you did something with Zach, um, Quality HVAC, and I saw, I think, I forget what it was. Maybe you were wearing the hoodie and he had like that fishing style looking shirt, and I was
uh,
like, I need those, and I literally went on like that night and ordered them. It was
that's
awesome.
funny.
Yeah. And it's funny. I tell people they're like, oh well, you wear that stuff because you get it, for free, and that's not true. I mean, you see, I've bought 85%. Like, you've given me a few things, but I buy everything that I get from you for many reasons because the fact that you are my friend, I love what you do, and I want to support the cause. I don't want it for nothing, you know.
Yeah, I would say, in fact, if anybody wants to go online and buy anything before the end of the show, remind me. I'll give everybody like a promo code to save like 20%.
There you go. You hear
So
that, people? So you're fine on here live, but when the audio goes out, that's a different story. Then it might be a little bit.
oh, it's all good. They can still use the code. I'll make like a HVAC Uncensored promo code or something like that.
Nice.
So it literally takes me 30 seconds to make the discount code, so I can do that on the fly. So as soon as I get off the show, I'll put that into the queue. And we'll get it done.
So what did you have to build your like website custom? Like as far as like how you add your stuff on there and stuff like that, or like was it one of like the building it through one of like those pre-built things?
No, it's at first I started through Shopify, and I outgrew Shopify in about 12 months. And maybe outgrew is maybe not the right word to use. I just felt that Shopify wasn't a good fit for me at about the 12-month mark. And I said, I need, if I'm going to kind of scale this thing, I need something different. And I needed a real website. I needed, a better e-commerce platform. Um, and dude, I don't know. I didn't know nothing about any of this stuff, right? I still don't know nothing about this stuff. I'm still just figuring it out, right? And part of that whole thing is, I always say HVAC guys can do anything, right? Because when you're mechanically inclined and you can figure out how something works and why something's not working, you can pretty much figure out any problem ever, right?
Yeah, figure
It just
that out.
takes a little bit of effort, takes a little bit of digging, maybe a YouTube video or two, right? I know that's the classic. We talk about homeowners doing that stuff, right? But I think when you're an HVAC guy, you're mechanically inclined and you're savvy like that. I think that you can watch a YouTube video and be like, okay, I got a general understanding of how that's going to go together. Let's do this, right? And then as you go, you might make a mistake or two, but then you can realize like, oh, I was supposed to do this here, right? And then you can kind of back up a step and redo it and go forward. But I'm not going to say that you're going to be a professional at everything that you do, but I'm saying that we're pretty well versed in a lot of different things. And so I was able to really utilize that skill and really building this brand and figuring out apparel and figuring out hats and embroidery and screen printing and the e-commerce platform and the website stuff. And it's been a long going journey for sure. But all in all, man, it's been an exciting thing. Again, way further along than I ever anticipated. This was all just something done that I thought would just be cool. Just want to do it because it's cool, you know. And now here I am doing it full time. So I mean,
Yeah,
this is awesome, you know.
it is. And to be honest, that's why I've never really done merch. And to be honest, people ask for it, but I haven't done it because if somebody buys something with my logo on it, I want to make sure that it's good quality. And I
Yeah,
have the Shopify thing that's hooked to my website right now, but I don't really push it because, I bought a few of those things and I'm like, it's okay, but you know what I mean? So I think when I move, I'm gonna go to the thing where I just have merch in here and then try to work it out where people buy it. And I'm only gonna do it because people ask for it. Otherwise, normally it's me just buying some stuff with my logo for me to wear, going
right.
to events or friends. But yeah, that's the main reason. And then especially like when I wear your stuff and like it fits good. You wash it and it's the same size. It's not, a belly shirt when I go to put it back on. And the neck's not all stretched out. And that happens sometimes. And I know people mean the best, but they're trying to get out merch so fast that they don't think about the quality. It's just getting it out.
Yeah, yesterday, in fact, I had that conversation. They're like, "Well, I'm going to order a size bigger, so when I throw it in the wash," I said, "Well, my stuff doesn't shrink when you wash it." And they're like, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, these are things that we think out, right? Like when you look at that belt that we have in the marketplace right now, I wore that belt for a year before I ever put my logo on it and brought it to market because I needed to make sure that whatever I was going to put in the store was going to be legit, right? So when I decide to change a shirt, go from a short sleeve to a long sleeve, I buy a couple and I wear them. And out in the field, I work in them. I see how they perform in an attic space. I want to know if I'm crawling under a house like this, if I'm army crawling, am I going to start ripping up the sleeves, right? Or like, how well does the fabric hold up? Like, these are all things that we test out to make sure. I mean, there's a handful of guys out there that I'll send, hey, dude, test this shirt out. Let me know what you think, right? And some guys will be like, dude, this thing's trash. Like the color went away or whatever, or the threads came out, right? Not everything is going to be perfect. But the beauty about it is that we've done a really good job of like, if somebody calls me and says, hey, dude, the seam came off on this shirt, right? We just sent them another shirt. Now, I should be careful how I say that because a lot of guys will be like, oh man, the thread came out,
Yeah.
bro. You know what I mean? So, I just anticipate people dealing with character and integrity like I do. And I just assume that other people are going to be the same way. People are going to lie to me? Maybe, but you win some, you lose some. So,
Yeah. I will say that your sweatshirt is one of the nicest sweatshirts that I've bought. I mean, I have like some, like expensive sweatshirts. And yours on the inside feels like those.
and I mean, a $60 hoodie is an expensive shirt, a sweatshirt, right? But I mean, that's what hoodies go for. And
Yeah.
reality is like what I have to pay for them to have them made is not cheap. So I go out and I tell people my hoodie is the most comfortable hoodie you're ever going to put on, and that's a pretty bold statement, but I am 100% confident that that statement is going to be true. We actually have those hoodies made in Pakistan. Um, and I've looked all over the place where to make hoodies at, and it just seemed like Pakistan was the place for me. I made round one on the hoodies, and I never looked back. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely comfortable. I got the black and white one. I'm gonna have to get the army green one. So I might go order some stuff when we get. Matter of fact, I might just pull it up on the screen over here while nobody's looking. But yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's funny, like I don't realize how much of your stuff that I wear sometimes, and my wife will be like, she's like, "You've wearing that tactical stuff like every day this week," and I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, as you wash stuff and it's fresh on the top of the drawer, I'm like, "Oh, look, I just put that on." So
my goal is to become like the Nike, right? Or the Under Armour or the Adidas or Reebok, whatever, right? Just a name brand in our industry that you don't even think about it. It's just you throw it on because it's a comfortable shirt and it's a nice shirt and it's just a cool shirt to go out on the town with. It just represents what you do so passionately for a living, you know? Um, but yeah, I mean, how do you think I feel, dude? Everything the teachers at my kid's school are probably like, does this dude wear the same shirt every day? You know?
that that's funny. Well, plus, and my thought is too is with the merch is I like supporting my friends and their calls. So normally you'll see me wearing somebody else's, like if it's not HVAC Tactical, it's like Tersh's shirt, or Chris Stevens's shirt or somebody else's stuff, because it's cool. And then when somebody asks a question, oh, who is that? Oh, this is my friend. He does this. And oh, how do you? Oh, well, I have a podcast. So you know what I mean? So it creates the conversation. I still get to plug myself in the long run, but that's why I always try. Actually, I feel bad because Jen and them I haven't bought one of their shirts yet. So I'm sorry, Jen. I know you were in here. I need to buy one of your
It's
shirts.
coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
But
well,
yeah, no.
one of the things after AHR, and I can actually breathe again, we're gonna come out with a handful of new stuff. One of which is long overdue. We've had the Zach the ZDJ. Well, I call him ZDJ, but Zach Desjardins black on black. Um, black on black HVAC tactical hat, and so we are going to come out with a ZDJ line, kind of like a ZDJ edition. So Zach will have his own shirts and stuff, and obviously he's going to be in control of whatever designs and stuff that he wants, but it's going to be basically backed by HVAC Tactical. Now, with that, I get a lot of people asking like, well, how do we do a line for me, right, or a line for this guy, or a line for that guy? It can become very overwhelming, and something that you have to remember is that Zach is my brand ambassador. He was my very first brand ambassador and has been in my corner from almost day one. And so Zach and I have both a huge mutual respect for each other, and I want to do whatever I can do to utilize this platform in order to help him grow his platform, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a friend helping a friend and a brother helping a brother, and but we're gonna be coming out with new shirts, and it's so hard, man, because there's 1,000 different designs you could do, right? And you're like, well, which one is gonna sell? Because if I go make 300 shirts and we only sell 20 of them and the rest of them sit on a shelf, well, that was a waste, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do I do with the other 280 shirts?
Yeah.
So
It
it's a big
sucks. I,
problem.
I never got a Mike Flynn shirt, and I wanted to get another Jeff hat, and they were gone. Yes,
Yeah, both
Zach,
very
quality is.
limited runs we did on that stuff, and they're gone. So
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool. I have Zach's hat though. I love that hat. I think I bought that the same time I got the sweatshirt and like the fishing shirt. So yeah, that's cool. And then I think the one. So obviously I just got this one. I never had this one, but the one I think you were wearing the gray one with the leather patch right here.
hmm
That's always been one of my favorite hats, and I wore it so much that it got worn out, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time for a new one.
So what a lot of people don't realize is that there's been three generations of that particular hat, the leather patch hat. The first hat, I was hand making leather patches here in my office, and hand sewing them to hats, right? I've made shit, dude, 4, 5, 600 hats probably. It was ridiculous, right?
Oh
And
man.
it would take me about 20 minutes to do a hat from start to finish. So I'd go to work, I'd do my service calls, go help on an install, go do sales calls, whatever I had to do for that day. And when I come home, I would sit there and I would make these hats. Some days I'd even I'd be laying in bed sewing these hats while I'm watching TV, right? You just get to a point, it's like knitting, right? You just get so comfortable with it, you just know how to do it. But and then we moved to Gen 2. We had hats made overseas, which were not very good. And quite frankly, I'm a little embarrassed Gen 2 even existed, right? But I think I had to go through that in order to learn and know what to do, what to not do, what to get, what not to get. And then Gen 3s, we actually have the leather patches are actually made in California. They're sewed on in California, and then they're shipped to us directly. So we figured it out, and it's been a long process. But the Gen 3 hats are pretty badass, if you ask me. They're genuine leather patches, so when you pick them up, you can smell them. You can smell the real leather on the patch.
So that's the one I just got is Gen 3.
Yeah, Gen 3. Yeah, it's the only one we got now.
Oh, nice. So for you, when it comes to the merchandise, like you're sourcing different things from like different places, correct? It's not like a one size fits all. You got like different things coming from different areas.
Yeah, so we've partnered with Groove Life to bring all of our silicone rings and all of our belts, right? Quite frankly, dude, that belt is the best belt on the freaking market.
I'm wearing.
I venture to say that belt is just like my hoodie. Dude, it's legit, dude. Um, Again, I wore that thing for a year, right? And I needed to vet it. And then the hoodies come out of Pakistan. The hats are all made by Yupong / FlexFit. So FlexFit and Yupong are the same company. More people are probably familiar with FlexFit than they are Yupong, but and the Yupong hats are basically equivalent to like a Richardson hat, which is a hugely popular hat here in
Yeah.
America. So, but yeah, I mean, they're all over the place. Our shirts are actually made in Nicaragua, but the shirts are printed here in Texas. So if you ever read the tag, it says made in Nicaragua, perfected in Texas. So,
Well, you have little things like your logos on the tag and stuff. Like little things like that go a long way about the quality. So that's that's what I tell people. Like it's we need some HVAC tactical joggers.
he's not the first person to say that.
Yeah, I can't say
Efren,
anything.
my young apprentice Efren was just saying the other day that we needed windbreakers. So, and then now fanny packs are a thing, right? But I told somebody a long time ago I would never make a fanny pack. So, it's
Yeah, I
just
don't
not
know
my
if I
thing,
could
dude.
if I could do that. I thought about it because especially in the summertime, if I am wearing some joggers, don't have a bunch of pockets, and you know, you see those guys that wear like those like little man bags, and I was like, well, maybe that wouldn't be that bad. And we were in a store, and I was gonna get a nice one, and my wife looks at me and she was like, Gil, if you buy that bag, I question so many things, and I was like, all right, cool. I won't do it. I won't do
That's
it.
hilarious.
So
That's funny. Yeah, I think the era. I mean, I grew up in an era of fanny packs, but I don't know that I would ever wear a fanny pack today. Even though these youngsters are, rocking the freaking Magnum PI mustache with the old school hat with the little. I don't even know what they call that little tassel that runs
yeah.
across the. Yeah,
My oldest son
there's some.
has the 1970s porn stash. I'm like, every
Yeah,
time
they're
you
trying
walk in the
so
room,
hard.
it should be like,
They're
bam,
trying so
bam,
hard.
bam. Anybody order pizza? I'm like, what are we doing, man? Like, but he likes it, so I let it. Oh, Mr. HVAC Boss is here. What is up? What is up? We got a whole bunch of people, so hello to everybody in the chat, man. Thank you for being here. I'd love to have you come on, HVAC Boss, on the show. I know we've talked a couple of times, but
There you go. There's your invitation, Angel.
yeah, and I met Angel through you. I mean, that's how I met him. So that's another thing about the awards and meeting different people is, like I said, the networking. You get to meet different people, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this about Angel. I don't want to spoil his story for your show, but Angel comes from a very humble background and worked from the ground up and built his company over the last 20 plus years. and now he runs a very successful plumbing and heating and air company, and and he's still out there every day in the trenches running service calls with his guys, helping do finish up installs, do all this stuff. That's stuff that you would never see a company that size. You would never see the owner out there doing stuff. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for him because of that. And over the last, man, I don't know, I guess it's going on a year. I've known Angel for about a year now. We've become pretty good friends. Sometimes he gets mad at me because I don't bullshit and I just tell him what I'm thinking. But nonetheless, he does the same to me, so it's a mutual thing. But no, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Angel, and I think that I think you should definitely have him on a show. I think he's got a lot to be able to give back to the younger generation who are trying to build companies. So
Yeah, no, well, I agree. Just before I even knew him, and just watching his Instagram and seeing, one thing that I always like to look when I watch people is not the person, but the people that work for them or around them. And you see his little parties and everybody's having a good time and having fun. Like, they enjoy where they work. And I love seeing that because, let's be honest, there's so many places and you hear about so many horror stories of these horrible companies taking advantage of people. So when you see things like that, it's like, this is awesome. Like, and I would like to believe in my heart of hearts there's more places like this than there is the latter. And I think that's awesome. And I agree. Same thing when I saw him out with his guys. And I didn't know how big he was. I remember when I released, and it sucked because it wasn't what I thought it was, when BLUON and Sarah did their thing. And I made that announcement. And I was like, this is going to change the game. And then all of a sudden I get like a live, like not a FaceTime call, whatever's through Instagram. And it was Angel. And he's like, what's up, man? And I'm like, hey, I wasn't expecting this. And he was like,
that's Angel. Yeah,
he was like,
he will do that to the most random person.
yeah, he was like, so what's going on? I was like, so I told him, and then we got to talking for a while, and he showed me things, and I was like, damn, man, this place is huge. So yeah, that's awesome. So I'd love to have him on. And that's one thing I've tried to evolve from the show, man, is I made this podcast for techs. Even though I've evolved in my career, it's always been for techs and hearing their story. And some people think that they have to have like how people thought like the first in Vegas was invite only. Like, you don't have to have a following to come on here, man. Like, I just love hearing technician stories and how they got started and how they got into the trade. And you'd be surprised how many people it's not that my dad did it, my brother, my uncle did it. Some of these people are like, I didn't know anybody did HVAC. I just saw a hiring sign. Next thing you know, 10 years later, this is my career. So it's just cool that there's no one path that you have to take to get into this.
Yeah, we talked about earlier about the different things that I'm trying to get into, and it's not a secret that I've tinkered in podcasting over the last couple of years, and I just never wanted to make the full-time commitment to try to do it on a regular basis. As you know, it's extremely time consuming, and it's a commitment, right? You gotta commit to it. But looking at it from building a brand perspective, and the opportunity that is really there, and with all these relationships that I'm building now, it's kind of like I'm almost forced to have to do it. And so I feel like the best episodes I've ever done have been with people who aren't even in our industry, right? But still have something relevant to bring to the trade, because let's face it, we're all human beings. So right now I'm in the process. I got concrete's down, walls are framed, roof is on. I'm running electrical right now. I'm building a brand new office with a brand new podcast studio. And
Nice.
and so once that's done, we're going to take podcasting to another level. And what we're going to try to do is really branch out and talk not only to HVAC guys, but guys outside of the industry that have something to offer, whether that be mental health, your physical health, talking about just relationships. Like, do think about how many wives are pissed off at these guys because we work 16, 17, 18-hour days. Think about that, right? Every guy in the chat right now is going, hell yeah, I deal with that shit every day, right? So, how do you battle that stuff, right? Well, most of these guys don't really have anybody to talk to. Most of the time it's just, hey, it's kind of a bitching session, right? Like, I can't believe my wife's acting this way. Doesn't she know I go out and make the money? You know what I mean? It's like, how about we break it down, and how about we really have a real conversation about it, right? So it's that kind of stuff. I want to really get down to the heart of people, right? We even talk about faith if you want to talk about faith. You know what I mean? So which that plays a huge role in my life personally.
It's been
Something
huge
that
for
I
me.
don't, yeah, something I don't spend a lot of time talking about, like on a platform like this. But I will tell you that that's probably going to change here real soon. You know, and if I lose people and lose followers for it, oh well,
Yeah,
it is
and,
what
and
it
that's
is.
what, and and when Christianity really became huge in my life, I never really told a lot of people, and uh, I was surprised that when I shared the video of my baptism, that I didn't have any negative comments. It was
Yeah.
all positive stuff, which was awesome. And people are like, "Gil, well, you're a Christian and you still cuss." Yeah, I still sin. I'm not perfect, you know.
Well, I think this here's the misconception, right? Is that just because you said that, I think there was maybe people misunderstood you, or misheard you. Is that you said you were a Christian, you didn't say you were perfect, right?
Yeah,
So you're just a man under construction, right? And the goal is to try to get better every day. It's not an overnight thing. And it's I think a lot of people have this thing. It's like you got to get your life cleaned up first in order to make that decision in your faith. And reality is you don't do that. You make your decision in your faith, and then God will get your life cleaned up, right?
yep.
So yeah, it's a little bit backwards the way people think about it.
Yeah, and I could say the community of people I've met through the church that I go to are it's been amazing. I have met some awesome people, and what I love about it is they are growing up the way I grew up, and I have some very good friends, don't get me wrong, but you meet a lot of people, and in your friendship, they always eventually want something in return, like you owe them something, if that makes
Right.
sense. And all these people that I've met through my church, they're just, "Hey, Gil, I haven't, I didn't get to talk to you last Sunday. I was just calling to see how you're doing, man. Everything good? You know what I mean?"
But there's also a flip side to that, right? Like, I've been screwed over by more people in a church than outside of a church.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, dude, just because people say that they're a certain religion or something like that doesn't mean nothing, right?
Well,
Like, your actions speak louder than words, my friend. You know
That,
what I'm
that's
saying?
that's true. That's very true. And I think that I've been fortunate that the people I've been plugged in with are just really good people. So I've seen that other side at other churches in the past, which is why I held up on faith and didn't go back because of that reason. So I get it.
Yeah, and there's also good people who, you know, have a relationship with God, and good people who don't, right? So it's like, when you can get around somebody who's like just a good moral person, they got good character, good integrity, and you're just like, man, for sure, like, you go to church every Sunday, like, you just got your life together, and they're like, no, I don't even believe in God. You know what I mean? And it's like, what? It's just, people are just, it's not uncommon to have some to that people just genuinely want to be good people, right?
Yeah.
So, but these are all conversations, man, that I want to have on podcasts. You know what I mean? Like, just deep down, real and
Yeah.
raw, just unplugged. You know what I mean? So,
You mean uncensored? No, and to be honest, that's why that I've always done the mental health and like the addiction stuff, and
yeah,
I've been so raw about my experiences because I know it's huge in the trades, and some of the emails I get, and I'm like, hey man, if I tell my story and that helps one person, then that was enough, and it's awesome. So that's awesome, dude. I'm glad you're gonna start a podcast. That's amazing. That's cool that you're building a studio. I can't wait till I finally get my new one, but gotta find the
what I
right
need to
house
do is
first.
I need to get you down here to Texas. We could do a live one of these.
Dude, let me know. My fault would be getting
That'd
me
be
to leave
awesome.
Texas. That's why when you said about getting jobs, I was like, hey, if anybody offers me a job, Ryan, I'm sorry, please let it be warm weather. I'm Texas, Florida, probably my two spots, maybe a Carolina. I'm down. Let me know. I'll
Well,
take an
you
offer.
could be like, I could be like Fox, and you could be like the Tucker Carlson, right? Like, I just host your program on my platform.
Yeah. Hey,
I mean, you never know. You
yeah,
never know.
hey, there you go. And it's funny you say that because, and it's something that I've never done. It's one of those thoughts in your head that, like one thing I am gonna do is I have so many so much stuff that I've bought that I don't use, and I got all these creators out there trying to get stuff that I'm gonna sell some of this stuff, but to other creators at half the price, just so they can have nice things and do what they're gonna do. But I have a Osmo Pocket 2. I have the new 3, the third one. But that second one is easy. It's not your phone. It comes with a microphone. Like, I want to put that together and give that away. Like, hey, if somebody out there trying to start making videos and you want to film yourself at work, like, have some kind of raffle, and then I'll give it away to kind of help somebody get started, just to make this stuff work. Because there's stuff. These are pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, equipment is not cheap, dude.
Where'd it go?
I mean, you're gonna spend a couple grand.
Yeah.
You know what, man?
$500.
Those are the Rhodes. I bought some of those and then I sent them back. I didn't like them.
Well, this is the pros, the brand new ones. So I have the other ones, but this pro one is pretty badass. They come in this.
I went with the DJIs. I really like those.
Well, that's what I was going to go with before these. So the DJIs versus the Rode Go 2. But from some other people, they say that these pros are amazing. So $500 or $400 later. These ones
they're not inexpensive.
Yeah, no, all this stuff is something. But that's another thing. So people, like, we go to these events, it's a business, so I get to write a lot of this stuff off. I get it. Somebody who you're just in the trade going to an event, it's coming out of your pocket. It's a little different, That's why I get to do some of these things. So I'm gonna start trying to give some of this stuff back.
One thing I think, as a guy wanting to go to AHR and you're working for somebody else, like, you should just talk to your employer and tell them why you think you should go to this and why you think it would be beneficial for your employer for you to go to this thing, right? Then it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win for you because you get to go, and it's a win for them because you're going to come back with more knowledge that you're going to be able to, put in work, right? But oh man, I forgot what I was going to say right now. I think going to AHR is an incredible experience, and I think that you should not take that lightly. For people who are looking at wanting to go to the award show next year in Orlando, I think we're going to do like some type of a pre-ticket sale thing, probably in I'm going to say probably like in April or May. Like, it's going to be way ahead of time to give people plenty of time. And we'll even make the tickets refundable. So if you just want to score the tickets and then you need to cancel them or refund them or transfer them later, we can do that. Because I just don't think we're going to have a problem selling this show out from here moving forward. And it's unfortunate that I want to keep it at 300 people. And while other people are like, no, just bring 500 people. And I feel like you tend to lose a little bit of the small kind of intimate crowd feeling, right? Plus 500 people down a red carpet, we're going to have to add a couple extra hours to the show just to be able to pull that off, So
yeah. Well, I'll give you a credit card on file. I'll be at HR every year. I'll be there, so just make sure that I'm having those tickets. But we're well over an hour, man, and I don't want to keep you any longer. But I'm glad we got to talk of this. You know how I feel, man. I'm glad. I know it is crazy hellish work for you, but the event is 100% worth it. I don't want to say worth it because I don't put in the work, you do, but from the other side, experience it's awesome. Meeting people, just the atmosphere is absolutely amazing. There's nothing like it. Winning the award, I hold this, it sits right next to me all the time. I hold this near and dear to me. That's awesome. I mean, I get downloads and stuff like that, but I don't win anything. You know what I mean? To say that I won podcast of the year, that's awesome. That means, that means the world to me. So, and the fact that other people have been able to have that same thing, it's awesome. And that's because you created that. So I thank you for that, brother. You know that.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So, but no, your podcast is, you've earned it, man. You've earned it. So,
well, thank you. Now I'm trying to take it to the next level. So hopefully I told you, I'm trying to go full Joe Rogan when I move. I cannot find the house I want in Maryland to save my life. And I'm picky. And a funny story, I told you that I found a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood around here that football players, like some of like the professional athletes live in. It's a beautiful neighborhood. It's more money than I wanted to spend. I'm not gonna lie, but I got approved financially. The association declined me. Like I didn't meet their requirements. I'm like, what? Because I'm not a
Oh,
doctor or a professional athlete. Like I'm an award-winning podcaster, you son of a bitch. Like, but yeah, they declined me. But to me, I was like, hey, I think it was a sign from God that I wasn't supposed to financially stretch myself that far. House would have been beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it was a lot more money than I wanted to spend. So I do
I
think that
think
was a sign from God.
I think knowing what we know as HVAC guys, again, HVAC guys can do anything, and I'm not telling you to go build your own house, right? Like, but I think that you could easily buy a piece of property and oversee the construction of a house, right? Have your company do the mechanical. I'm sure you know a guy who's a plumber, and I know a guy who's an electrician. Like, you could farm out this stuff at a reasonable rate and build a way nicer house than you could buy for less than you could buy it for. So, I think buying a piece of property for as an HVAC guy, knowing enough about construction, I think that you could easily oversee the construction of it and save a ton of money and have the dream home that you've always wanted. So,
And the thing is now it's kind of a time crunch because I'm in this small rental house. I wish I would have done that when I sold my last house and couldn't find what I wanted when I first came into this rental house. I wish I would have done that then. Now we're popping out the seams here. Like I don't have the time to build something. Or I agree with you 100%. I wish I would have thought about that a few years ago. Um, because I have some friends. They're like, dude, buy the property. You can mortgage the property to build the house. Like wrap it all up into one loan. Especially using some of the stuff through the VA. It would have been perfect. I just wish I would have thought
yeah,
about that a couple of years ago. So, um, yeah. Or when I thought about
yeah.
going to Texas.
Well, it's only getting more expensive to live here, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So,
you got all them Californians moving, coming down
yeah,
there.
don't remind me, dude. Don't
Keep
remind
that
me.
keep
So,
that shit in California. California's fun to visit. No offense, I don't want to live there. I love you, Scott. You know that, rookie, but I don't want to live in California. Um, but yeah, I won't keep you, man. Like I said, we're an hour and a half, and I got a big mouth. So thank you, brother. I look forward to seeing you here soon, and I'm gonna go on the website and order me and Scott some green hoodies before they sell out. And thank you for what you do, man. I appreciate you. I know and I know a lot of other people do. For the hell you put yourself through for 8-9 months before this event. Um, thank you, because it makes us little HVAC guys and plumbers feel special. So
yeah, no worries at all. I'm going to drop that HVAC Uncensored promo code. So, 20% off entire purchase, HVAC Uncensored.
nice. So you hear that,
So,
HVAC Uncensored. So it's just HVAC Uncensored. No,
no spaces, no dashes, just HVAC Uncensored. Yep.
there you go for 20% off. And you don't know how
That
long you're gonna
that
keep it
coupon,
live.
that promo code will be live here in the next 5 minutes. So,
Awesome. All right, brother, man. Well, I'll start closing this out, man. If you want to hang tight, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, brother.
yep. Thank you. See you guys.
All right, everyone. Yeah, man. AHR. Like you always hear a bunch of us say it, and you're gonna have some AHR recaps after we get back because they're just such a blast, and you get to meet so many people. That's how me and Rookie. I met Rookie last Orlando, and now he's become a great friend of mine. It's going to be the discount code real fast for HVAC Tactical. Go on there and start buying some merch. HVAC Uncensored. All no spaces, all together, 20% off. And I want to thank Ben for doing that. That's extremely awesome of him. So if you wanted your own HVAC Tactical merch, now's the time to do it. Hats, shirts, sweatshirts, belts, long sleeve shirts, you name it. And the quality is amazing. You guys see me on these podcasts. I'm wearing HVAC Tactical stuff almost, every time I come on here. Because of the quality, the stuff's awesome. Plus, I like to support my friend. So go do that. And AHR, actually, this is one thing that I meant to ask. And I forgot to ask Ben. I can see him in the camera. Ben, you can watch this online, right? The show? You can also, matter of fact, here, hold on. I'm going to bring Ben back on just for a second because I meant to ask that. If people can't come there live, they can watch it online still, correct?
Yeah, we're planning on streaming the award show live through my channel on YouTube.
Okay, cool. Thank you, buddy. I figured you answered that. I meant to ask you that before.
It's all good.
Yeah, so there you go. If you can't go live, there's something for you to be able to, to go at least watch it and see how awesome these events are so you can try to plan on. And like Ben said, he's going to try to start selling the tickets earlier. You don't have to have a following or be an influencer. This is just for everyday HVAC, plumbers, whatever, This might get to a day where we have electricians, we got Sparkies, we got everything there. And it's for the trades in general. So I do think what Ben has created is amazing. And I'm extremely grateful to be a small cog in this big, huge wheel of the movement that it generated, because it is that. It is a movement. So blue collar badasses, that's what it is. But yes, thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. You know that. I am trying to start booking out next year for the podcast. So Mr. Angel, I got to get in touch with you. I'd be so awesome to get you on the show. Kraus, I want to get you on here by yourself, buddy. Like a bunch of you, I want to get on here. Jason Johnson, like I want to get people on here, hear your stories, and just talk about whatever, That's what I want to get back to. I'm going to start next year. Some of these people that come on and, talk about little goofy stuff, I'm going to start cutting that stuff out. I try to do ones that I think are beneficial to you guys, but some of them, I can tell by the downloads. It's not what everybody wants, and I'm just going to stop doing those shows. And I've canceled a bunch of podcasts and turned people down respectively because I just say, hey, that's not what my listener base wants. With that being said, man, this will be the last show before I talk to you guys. I wish all of you a Merry, Merry Christmas to you and your families. Hope you guys have a great holiday. Get to relax. Remember what this day is for. I hope the kids get to open all their presents and, they're as happy as they can be. So with that being said, guys, remember, be safe out there. We all have somebody to make it home to. All right. Keep your head on the swivel. I don't care if you're driving, turn that breaker off. I don't care if it's your best friend and he says, oh, breaker's off. Just check it. Make sure. Don't just go touching it. All right. Be safe. I want you to make it home the same way you left. All right. Remember, do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. Keep bettering yourself. Even if it's not HVAC, keep growing, all right? If it's listen to a podcast, a YouTube video, an online course, joining a self-help group, whatever it is, keep trying to better yourself, all right? Don't ever stop. And God forbid, if you're an amazing tech, give back to the industry. Train some of those young guys. Talk them up. Help them. Share your wisdom and your knowledge. Because I agree with the statement, every time one of these old heads retires, it's like a library burning down because of all the knowledge that they have, all right? Remember that. And hey, you may be like me, 40, 45. You may be that old guy full of knowledge that, you're a library with the doors closed. Help somebody else, all right? That being said, I love you, mofos. Merry Christmas, and I'll talk at you mofos next week, all right? Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and